Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And on the back of a very significant loss by the Springboks to New Zealand, Argentina have decided to put themselves in the Rugby Championship running with an absolutely sensational performance against Australia last night, winning 48 points to 17. They actually currently now sit on the top of the Rugby Championship log and very much now looking pretty precarious from a South African perspective regarding the Rugby Championship and the prospects, because in many ways, arguably have the hardest now sort of ending to, well, ourselves and Argentina have very much sort of the hardest run in to the rest of the tournament. So South Africa and New Zealand both getting victories but not securing bonus points, while Australia and Argentina both have secured bonus points and currently sit tied at the top of the log. Before we look at the sort of fixtures to come, the log, and exactly what the ramifications of yesterday's results were, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Now, the Springboks last week beat New Zealand by 16 points, which meant that New Zealand didn't get a losing bonus point. However, yesterday South Africa also didn't get a losing bonus point. Now, remember, the bonus point system with regards to tries is not scoring 4 tries, but rather scoring 3 more tries than the opposition. As a result, Argentina and Australia have both gotten those bonus points wins by scoring more tries than their opposition. However, neither the Springboks nor the All Blacks did. So currently, if you look at the standings and the table, Argentina currently sitting on 5 points, as well as Australia with a 16 point. Argentina have a plus 16 points difference. Australia have a minus 16 points difference. South Africa are then ahead of the All Blacks on points difference. South Africa with the current 4-point positive points difference compared to New Zealand's -4, just as a result of the fact that we beat them by 16 points, they beat us by 12. So the Rugby Championship is very close after 2 rounds, and there's no sort of clear favourite, I would say. However, the run-in for me would actually suddenly put New Zealand very much in the running to go on and win the Rugby Championship. And the reason I say that is that the new format will see every single side playing 2 home matches against a single nation, 2 away matches against another nation, and then one nation will be home, one away. So the Springboks have had their 2 home games, and they've come away with 1 win and 1 loss against New Zealand, which is not ideal. We then move into a double round of home fixtures where New Zealand will host Argentina back-to-back, and South Africa will travel to Australia to play back-to-back games in Australia. Now, the problem for the Springboks is they historically have not got good results in Australia. We really do struggle to beat Australia in Australia. So 2 back-to-back games in Australia is probably the Springboks' biggest nightmare. I mean, we lost twice then last year. We've got a horrible history of being able to win in Australia, which means that, over the next 2 matches, the fact that we need to go out and win both matches is a massive ask. And after that, we will then have to travel to Argentina for our round 5 clash on the 17th of September. And Argentina is known for being a very hostile place to play. It's a very difficult place to go and play. And we saw that yesterday, how the Wallabies kind of fell apart yesterday with what was a pretty sensational Argentinian performance. The one thing, though, about Argentina is that they're a very inconsistent side. Just historically, they always have been a very inconsistent side. They're a side that on their day can go toe-to-toe with any team in the world, but can also be beaten by any team in the world. They do have that kind of streak in them where they can rise to the occasion and smash a team, and then be absolutely horrible the next week. So it is a new era under Michael Cheika, so it'll be interesting to see how they do progress. But I personally think that New Zealand currently now, or even Australia to a certain point, have a much more favourable run-in, because New Zealand both of these teams will have back-to-back home games now. And they've had 2 games to sort of get themselves into the flow. New Zealand will be brimming with confidence after yesterday's performance. So if both those teams were to go, for example, back-to-back home wins, first of all, that would take South Africa and Argentina out of the running, basically. And would then mean that Australia and New Zealand both have home games, 1 home game, 1 away game. So basically, if they win the rest of their home games, they should be looking pretty good to win the Rugby Championship. The Springboks is a very tall ask. For Argentina, it's an even bigger ask. Because the Springboks are going to have to go 2 in a row in Australia and then go to Argentina. So that's 3 away matches in a row. They are the only side that will have to do that this tournament. Because Argentina have had 2 home games. They're then going to go away for 2 away games, then another 1 home game, and then an away game. We are the only side that will play 3 away games in a row. Thankfully, it has been quite spaced out. So there are, for example, 2 weeks in between trips. So it's not like we're going from Johannesburg to Australia, to Argentina within 2 weeks. You know, we've got 2 weeks until the next game, which is in Australia, and we've got then back-to-back fixtures, and then another 2 weeks before the next game, the 17th of September. So there is a nice break, I suppose, which will allow players to sort of adjust time zones, stuff like that. So you can't really use time zones and that kind of thing as an excuse. But once again, you know, the Springboks are going to win the Rugby Championship. They're going to either need other teams to do them a favor with regards to either New Zealand losing or Argentina winning one or losing one, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to go and beat Australia twice, probably. And that's always a very big ask. So it is kind of a sort of a Mission Impossible type thing. Not Mission Impossible, Mission Improbable maybe is probably a better way of saying it. Because this Australian side is a very strange Australian side because, again, a bit like the Springboks, really struggling with consistency. You know, they lost to England in their series. And they then beat Argentina last week. And everyone's like, right, this Australian side, and they do look very promising on attack. But then they've also got it in the fact that they just shipped, you know, 48 points yesterday. So they are vulnerable as well. So interesting to see how they will be like in Australia. Now, they had a big issue with a lot of players being unavailable for them. For example, they had Falau Fainga pulling out late yesterday. There's no Michael Hooper. There's quite a few players, Craig Cooper, for example, where he won't be there for a while. There's no Sobek Karevi, so there's quite a few players that are missing. So the 2-week break now could allow them to get a few players back. We don't exactly, for example, we don't know when Michael Hooper's going to return, but they are a team which has had quite a few injury blows, as are the BOKS. So the 2-week break could be the perfect time for both sides with regards to getting a few players back, getting a bit of a reset, sort of going back to basics and getting yourself ready. Because the next time that the two teams will run out will be on the 27th of August, and we have South Africa taking on Australia at 7:30 in the morning. New Zealand taking on Argentina at 9:45. But at the moment, you know, the plaudits this weekend belong to New Zealand, and very much so with Argentina after that brilliant performance last night. Let me know what you thought about the weekend down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.